The opinions and views expressed in the following program are those of the speakers and the host, and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and your sports network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? But can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look in my soul. I've been afraid I would follow the road. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
Hello, everybody. Welcome inside a Monday episode of Running Point on ysnlive.com. As always, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. I'm Anthony Hartwig, and happy to bring another week into the fold here on Running Point. Brought to you as always by our good friends, I'm pointing the wrong way, at Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown, putting them out in the right-hand corner like we always do, so you know where to go if you're in the market for a new or used vehicle. No one will take care of you the way that Greenwood Chevrolet does. They go the extra mile for you, and we try to do the same here on this show every single day. We thank them for their constant support and sponsorship, but not just this show, but everything that we do on YSN. So that being said, here we go, Monday. It's a long day. We have a lot to recap. We have a lot to preview. The weather is beautiful this week. We finally are being smiled upon by Mother Nature. So it's going to be a fun week. Can't wait to get it started here with you today. We're going to have an interview with you to play from Abby DeJoy from Brookfield, the senior shortstop for the Warriors. Just interviewed her right before the show, so we'll be able to hear from her. And we're going to also, like I said, recap the weekend's action and then get to the previews of today's action as well. Let's go all the way back to Friday. This is going to take a breath because we had a lot of finals come in over the weekend. So let's go back to Friday, rewind your clocks a little bit, and let's see what happened on the Friday slate of baseball and softball. We start with United Softball. Going down to Tennessee. They were in Tennessee over the weekend in Pigeon Forge. They lost to, I'm trying to get this name right, LaSalle, Peru. They lost 7-1 in Tennessee, but they were able to bounce back and get a win in Tennessee as well. And then Mother Nature kind of ruined the rest of United's weekend. We come back into the area as champion was able to beat, I'm on Thursday. What am I doing? Sorry about that. I went too far. I thought that sounded weird. We'll go to Friday. And Friday's scores that came in look like this. Poland was able to beat Sharpsville 8-7, which is a great thing that's the first graphic that pops up because that is the game that I was at. And we'll start with this game because it was a wild one, right? So Poland comes into this game. They're undefeated, right? They're playing Sharpsville. This is a makeup game. They were supposed to play on Thursday. Field conditions weren't there yet, so they bring in Sharpsville across the border on a Friday, which I applaud Poland for doing first because, they're playing on Friday night knowing full well that they have 2 games on Saturday afternoon. They're hosting 3 games, so they knew it was going to be a long day the next day, and they still were able to say, let's just get a softball game in against a really good Sharpsville team. Sharpen our teeth a little bit, and Poland did just that. It was a slow start for the Bulldogs, especially on the defensive side. They gave up 5 runs pretty quickly, and were down 5-0. They were able to come back and get a couple of runs in the 5th. Their offense didn't get going until that 5th inning. They were shut out through 4 innings of play. 5th inning, they get 2, but then they give up 2 more, right? So it's 7-2 going into the 7th, and things aren't looking great for Poland, but their freshmen started things off. Their freshmen at the bottom and top of the order, 3 in a row from Avery Yakubovic. You have Eliana Thompson at the top of the order, and then right behind her, Leanna Bocheri. All 3 of those girls did a really good job having solid at bats, getting on base for the meat of the Poland order in 3, 4, 5. And once they did that, Poland got a couple of runs. Eliana Thompson hit in a couple of runs. There was 7-5 with Eliana Thompson on, and then Bocheri got on right in front of Mary Brandt. And Mary Brandt has been struggling to find the power. Was coming into this game hitting 500, so she wasn't struggling to find hits. She was still producing well from the plate. But we all know that Brandt has a lot of power in that bat. It hadn't shown itself yet, but it picked a great time to show up. Walk-off, 3-run home run. It capped off the 5-run comeback that Poland was able to do in the bottom of the 7th inning. It was a wild game, I'll tell you that much. Sharpsville is very good softball team. Their catcher had a cannon, threw out a couple of runners. Their third baseman was really good, had a strong arm. I can't remember names, so forgive me if you're listening from Sharpsville. We thank you for tuning in, 1. And 2, if you want to be on YSN more, you can go over to ysnlive.com, check us out and get in touch with us. We'd love to cover Sharpsville, especially if all your other sports teams are as impressive as your softball team. But it was just a wild night of softball in Poland with that going down. And then my day, that wasn't all I saw, because what I did earlier that day made me think there's no way that I'm going to get one of those kind of games twice. I was in West Branch in the afternoon on Fridays. We had a doubleheader. Yeah, I guess you could say doubleheader. Went from West Branch to Poland. West Branch was playing Dover, so another team, YSN team, welcoming in a non-YSN team from pretty far out of our region. Dover came in, and Dover was 3-1. West Branch was 3-2. They were just coming off a loss to Girard the night before. Definitely wanted to get momentum, and they hit really well. West Branch was smacking the ball all over the yard. They were also going up against a good offense in Dover. It was a slugfest to really back and forth this game, but West Branch was able to build a little lead, and sustain it, because there really wasn't an inning where West Branch didn't score through 6, and they took a 13-7 lead into the 7th inning. And then I was saying it on the Diamond Roundup last night to Steve. It was just one of those innings in the 7th, and we've all seen them before, especially at this level, where the wheels kind of start to fall off, they start to rattle a little bit, and you just cannot stop the bleeding. Unfortunately for West Branch, that happened. Dover started to really put the ball in play really well, avoided the strikeouts, put pressure on West Branch's defense. There were a couple of miscues, but then a couple of really good hits from Dover as well. They were able to score 7 runs in the top of the 7th inning to take a 14-13 lead. And then what was really impressive was Dover's defense, for the first time in the game, was able to keep the West Branch from scoring. I thought 14-13, well, who cares? West Branch has scored in every inning. They're going to come out, they're going to at least tie the game, maybe win it. So I wasn't worried from a West Branch perspective, but Dover's defense made the plays when they had to. Their pitching wasn't, electric. They weren't, they weren't keeping West Branch handcuffed all day by any stretch of the words. But when they got a lead, they backed West Branch into a corner, and they really stepped up. I think a strikeout with 1 out to get 2, and then a ground out to end the frame with a couple of runners on. So sometimes it's when your defense steps up, not how much it steps up, right? So Dover did a really good job. I want to give a shout out to one of their players too. My first time being able to watch her live, but been following her on social media for a while, been following her success. She's a great softball player. Addie Morris from Dover, going to Bowling Green next season as a Division I softball player. Was a great opportunity to be able to see her live. She absolutely lived up to the hype. She is a great shortstop. Made a lot of plays in the 5-6 hole, and then really hit well. They didn't keep her off the base paths, and she scored 3 runs, hit in 3 as well. Was really a pleasure to get to see her live. Some other scores from Saturday as we go through. Badger baseball, they were able to get the win 15-4 over Chalker. And then we have Berkshire softball getting the win over Ashtabula Lakeside 15-2. final score there. We go into some more Saturday scores from softball, 26-0. From Friday. Western Reserve got the win over Cheney, 26-0. All these Wests. What are we doing? Matthews is able to bounce back after their Thursday loss to Howland, 5-3. They beat Waterloo on Friday night. We saw Louisville really have a good game against Massillon Jackson. 7-6. They get the win over the Polar Bears. Big win for the Leopards. Now we go into Saturday. So excuse me for that. It's a Monday. Shaking off some Monday blues. So Saturday, we'll start with Poland, and they had 3 games go on in Poland. And the first one came down to Boardman and Poland in game 1 of a triple header. And Boardman was able to pitch their way to victory. Tori Strines played extremely well in the circle. She was able to hold down this Poland offense consistently. And Boardman's offense, who really hasn't caught on yet, they haven't woken up yet. They're batting under 230 as a team. They haven't woken up the bats yet. Fred Moots was talking about that after the game. But they found a way in this one against Poland to just score enough runs for their pitching staff. Coach Moots talked about it in his post-game press conference, which you can find on post-game press conference. I'm sounding so official. Post-game press conference, which you can find on ysnlive.com and also our YouTube page. But he talked about it like this offense has got to take the pressure off themselves. They don't have to score a lot of runs with the pitching staff they have. And they proved that against Poland. 3-1. 3 runs, not a offensive day to write home about, but it's enough when Tori Strines pitches the way she did against a very, very good offense in Poland. And she got the win, and Boardman got the win as well, 3-1 over the Bulldogs. Game 2 was Boardman getting back in action. They played Brookfield, and this is where the Boardman offense, once again, you don't have to score a ton of runs, but you do have to score. They got shut down by a very good pitcher in her own right, in Miranda Nicholson. Brookfield's offense did enough. These were 2 games that were almost identical, just opposite teams. Because we saw Boardman do the same thing in game 1 against Poland. Score enough, not score at an alarming rate, not drill the ball out of the ballpark, but just score enough. And Brookfield was able to get Miranda Nicholson 3 runs. The way she was pitching, 3 runs felt like 10. She shut down Boardman's offense, struck out 6 of them, and gave up just the 1 hit on the day to Boardman. Brookfield was able to get really good production out of Abby DeJoy, hit a home run in the game, as well as going 2 for 4 with a couple of RBI. So Abby DeJoy, really good job from Brookfield. You're going to hear from her in a little bit. Game 3 at Poland on Saturday was Poland versus Brookfield. And after 2 pitchers duels, I think both offenses were kind of sick of seeing the pitchers have their way, because this one went into the high scoring affair category. 15-9, Poland was able to win. Caveat to this, Brookfield did not throw Miranda Nicholson for a second time in a row. They were kind of trying to reserve her for conference matchups today and tomorrow. They have Crestview tonight and tomorrow, so I think they wanted to make sure she was fresh for that. They gave some young pitchers their innings. We saw Burge make her first appearance of the season, and they battled through a lot. That's we talked about it yesterday when we talked about it yesterday. We talked about it Friday, not even Friday, Thursday. There was no show Friday. We talked about it Thursday. The ability of a pitcher to go and just grind through a game where they're giving stuff up is pretty impressive. And those pitchers, Brookfield they threw 2 of them. They could have just shut down. They could have, decided that this isn't working and just mentally didn't focus. They gave up 15 runs. They could have just, packed it in and given up 23 or 24 or something like that, but they didn't. They grinded through. They consistently kept their team in the game. Brookfield's offense was stepping up for them against Keely McDonald, who is a very good pitcher. We all know that. So Brookfield was able to step up and get some runs on her and really keep these pitchers in the game, give her run support. And unfortunately for Brookfield, Poland was just able to score a little bit more. 2 great performances by 2 good freshmen that we brought up before in Jakubovic and Bocherry. both knocking in multiple runs, both going perfect days at the plate. Bocherry won the player of the game just because she had one more at bat, really. It was the only thing that separated the two in the stats. She went 4 for 4. Jakubovic went 3 for 3. You can find an interview with Liana Bocherry and Coach Sarich from Poland on ysnlive.com as well as our YouTube page. Some other scores from Saturday. We saw Canfield baseball. They got the win 14-0. Final score there. Garfield baseball in a pitcher's duel over Bristol, 1-0. Final score. Struthers got the win over Beaver Local, 6-3. That's your final score there. Lakeview, big win over West Branch. West Branch had a great week. They beat Mogador on Thursday. They played well on Friday, got a win on Friday, and they came into their third game in 3 days, and Lakeview really, really pitched well. Stowe for them dazzled on the mound. 2-1 pitcher's duel victory for Lakeview. You might see them make a jump in the power rankings next week when those Saturday games get calculated into the formula. Louisville got 2 big wins in a doubleheader. First over Hoban 2-0, and then they went and they beat Chardon as well later on the day. Can I get you that score real quick? It came in later with the late graphics. But Louisville was able to beat Chardon by a final score of 4-2 over the Hilltoppers. So 2-0 over Hoban, 4-2 over Chardon. Those were your final scores there. Big teams coming to Louisville's schedule. They didn't care one bit. It was a great day for the baseball team over there, proving that they can still play. This Louisville team lost a lot of seniors last year, a lot of really good seniors. They made that team and the run they made very special. And I think Louisville's kind of proven that they're reloaded and they're ready to go this year. That independent schedule is going to make them ready for every postseason challenge they'll face. And can't wait to see what Louisville baseball continues to do this spring. LeBray got the win over Chalker, 15-4. Final score there on the baseball side of things. We also saw Southern Local drop one 11-4. Final score there on the baseball field. Edison was able to win in baseball 14-0 over Lisbon. We saw Mineral Ridge baseball beat Niles 15-4. Final score there. Springfield softball was able to split a doubleheader with Pymatuning Valley 5-2. They won. And then later on in the day, Springfield lost to Pie Valley. Final score there was 7-6. We see Lisbon softball get a 22-5 win inside the EOAC against East Palestine. That was a makeup game from earlier this week. Garrettsville Garfield got the win over Bristol on the baseball field, 10-0. Your final score there. Edgewood was able to win a doubleheader with Crestwood, so you know that means Edgewood's the better lumber in that matchup. 5-3 and 6-4 final scores there. Champion, a doubleheader against 2 good teams, Marlington and North Canton Hoover. Remember, North Canton Hoover was the team that beat Fitch out of regionals last year in the regional final. Champion was able to beat them. Final score for that game was, well, it came in a little bit later, 1-0. Final score for Champion over Hoover, and then they were able to beat Marlington as well, 5-4. Different ways, right? Champion pitched really well and was able to win a pitcher's duel in the first game against Hoover, and then against Marlington, they were up 5-0, and Marlington tried to storm back. Champion made some clutch outs down the stretch and was able to win that game 5-4. We continue our final scores. LeBray baseball wins the doubleheader with a 17-3 win over Chalker. We saw Columbiana baseball with a big win over Springfield in emphatic fashion, 14-2. Final score there. No qualms about Columbiana beating Springfield in that one. There were no questions about it. We saw Chardon beat Hoban baseball 10-2 as part of that triple header that they played in Louisville. West Branch softball bounced back on Saturday, 9-4. They beat Hubbard. Salem baseball beat McDonald 10-1. We saw Columbiana beat their first opponent in Tennessee 14-11, and then they dropped their second game in Tennessee 11-4. Louisville softball got the win 7-0 over Minerva on Saturday. They also were able to beat Minerva 8-5 in a doubleheader. So those are your final scores there. I believe those are the final scores that came in over the weekend. That's it. We've hit everything over the weekend. Let's just get you the 3 scores that came in so far this morning from Myrtle Beach on the softball diamond. We saw Fitch get the win early in the morning, and it was 8 a.m. they started, and they won 11-0 over, trying to get this team's name, over Anderson County. 11-0 was the final score. Sydney Watts threw 7 innings, gave up no runs. 14 strikeouts was her total there. Also went 2 for 5 and hit her second home run of the season as well. And then Canfield softball, they were able to beat North Lincoln in Myrtle Beach 10-0. The final score there. Melina Toth, one-hitter shutout. She had 13 strikeouts, no walks in that effort. Gianna Panunzio was 2 for 2 with 4 RBI for the Canfield this morning as they ramble on. They are actually playing right now as well. The doubleheader today in Myrtle Beach. Give you a little update on what they're doing. They're playing, I'm not kidding, Paul the Sixth is what I would call it. It's just Paul and then the Roman numerals VI. So I'm going to say Paul the Sixth. They're playing right now 7-2. Canfield has the lead. Looks like they're in the bottom of the 4th inning with 2 outs, and Paul the Sixth is batting. So Canfield looks well on their way to win 2 games in Myrtle Beach today as part of their doubleheader. We also had South Range play at 10 a.m. this morning as well. Let's take a look at their final score. They won 18-0. A big dominating win over Bamberg Erhart Varsity. So they're the Red Raiders. Bamberg Erhart Red Raiders. 18-0. South Range showed no signs of slowing down in Myrtle Beach at all. Next game for South Range is going to be tomorrow at 8 a.m. against Anderson County, the team that Fitch played this morning and beat 11-0. So if our ways continue, our area is going to show Anderson County exactly what Northeast softball is all about, because they're going to have to play Fitch and South Range, 2 of our top teams, in back-to-back days, and I don't think it's going to go too well for them. Sorry, Anderson County, I do not believe in you too much. If you weren't able to touch Sydney Watts and touch Fitch, I don't think you're going to have much better luck with our number 3 team in our Power 20 South Range. It's going to be a great week for the Raiders. They're going to play Tuesday. They'll play twice. They play again on Wednesday, and then they'll play on Thursday and Friday as well. So they're going to have, 5 games at Myrtle Beach between now and Friday. So it's going to be a good week for all of our teams at Myrtle. We'll keep you up to date. For those of you that could not make the trip with those teams, Ty Bartel, DJ Oakley, Chris Colucci are all down there. So those broadcasts will also be brought to you in the mornings. Head over to ysnlive.com/live every morning to see what games they're doing down in Myrtle Beach. So let's take a deep breath. That was a recap of the weekend and the games that happened this morning. And while we take a breath, we'll also take a break. And when we come back, we're going to have a interview played with Abby DeJoy, senior shortstop for Brookfield, as she's having a great season so far. 4 home runs on the year for Brookfield and 12 RBI at the plate, as well as a really good glove. In the middle of the field. So we'll be right back on Running Point, brought to you as always by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
21 News delivers the news as it happens, using the latest technology from where it happens.
Live here outside the Mahoney County.
On air, online,
Wednesday afternoon weather update.
Very dangerous.
and on the 21 News social media platforms.
I'm on the road right now.
21 News, the Valley's only locally owned source for trusted news since 1953.
As fine as the eye can see, the finest hardwoods from the finest trees. Made for your home and within your means, Baird Brothers will help fulfill your dreams. Let life and light come shining through in quiet morns. And heavy traffic, too. Find your easy-to-afford fine hardwood floors and doors and more at BairdBrothers.com.
Every customer has a story, and at Greenwood Chevrolet, we are committed to making sure it ends with you in the right vehicle. I get to be part of somebody's adventure, whether it's buying a car for the first time, helping them get approved, or finding the perfect car for their budget. I'm proud that people trust me with their finances. They trust me to take care of them, and they trust me with their story. I'm Tracy, and I'm ready to go the extra mile for you, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Welcome back to Running Point on YSNLive.com, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet. In Austin Town, they go the extra mile for you. We do the same here on this show every single day, and we continue today with the interview section of this show. We're going to play one for you guys. It's going to be senior shortstop from Brookfield, Abby DeJoy. Hope you enjoyed this talk with her. It was a great interview. Got it right before the show. So here's Abby DeJoy from Brookfield.
Oh, wait.
Anthony Hartwig here with a Brookfield softball player profile. I am joined by Abby DeJoy. Abby, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today.
Thank you for having me.
Man, we've had a chance to see this Brookfield team live. First question, I just want you to kind of go into this team and what it's being like being in this dugout. How would you describe the personality of Brookfield softball this year?
I couldn't ask to be on a better team. We are all full of energy, always supporting each other. When someone gets down, picking them up. It's just a positive team and good environment to be in.
There's a ton of talent on this team as well. When you look around and you see so many players just doing their job and you're able to trust your teammates to be able to make the plays they're able to make, what's that like for you? I mean, you're in the middle of the infield, so you're a leader on the infield. What's it like to look around your infield, your outfield, your pitcher, and your catcher, knowing that everyone out there is going to be really good at doing their job?
It definitely helps relieve pressure. We still communicate every play, every pitch, but it's helpful to know that everybody knows what they're supposed to be doing and will try to execute it to the best of their ability.
You're a big part of that communication. Like we said before, as a shortstop, you're kind of one of the leaders on the field, trying to get your whole infield in the right positions and things like that. Have you always been a good vocal leader, or do you think you stepped into that ability over the last couple of years of your career?
Definitely more over the past couple years. I think being a coach's daughter, you try to stay on the down low and more lead by example, but over the years have proven to be able to speak and lead through communication and be more vocal.
You know, you're a senior, and one of the things that we realized looking in this roster is there are a lot of seniors on this team. What's it like having so much leadership available in that dugout?
It's very nice. Even our juniors, we have 2 juniors that play on the team as well. They've had just as much experience as the seniors. So very experienced team. The leadership is there. We all are on the same page and have that chemistry, know what we need to do.
You know, everyone kind of brings their own leadership qualities to the table when you have a big group of seniors like that. We've seen how vocal you are. Who's one of the girls that leads more by example and just shows up and just does the work night in, night out for the softball team and shows everybody else kind of how it's done and what the standard is?
I think our pitcher, Miranda Nicholson, for one, she's always putting in work. And our catcher, Katie Gibson, is very quiet, but always works hard and is very dedicated. As also Sophia Hook. She is also vocal, but very talented and leads by example.
We all know how good Sophia Hook is at pretty much everything that she does. We haven't found anything that she's not good at yet. Maybe we'll ask her that next time we have her on. What aren't you good at? One of the things that we realize also about this team, you brought up Miranda Nicholson, who's in the circle. You get to play behind her at short. What's it like to be able to play behind a pitcher like that just does so well and does a great job and really shuts down these lineups that you have to go up against?
Definitely helps us. Again, relieves pressure. It makes us want to do better for her because she works so hard. So when teams do hit her, makes us want to make the plays for her, get out of the innings.
Let's talk about your offense this year. You already have 4 home runs in the season. You've been mashing it early on in this spring. What's been working so well for you at the plate? What are some of your batting routines that you've been really doing a good job at this year?
I've honestly been doing the same routines, but I think I put more focus into them this year. A lot of off-season work and just trying to remain calm. It's my last season. I want to do well and I want to have fun. So trying to take off the pressure and just have fun out there.
If you had to pick like one thing that you worked on the most as far as your swing over the off season, what were some of the things that you really just tried to drive home this off season in your swing?
Not dipping and making sure I stay balanced in my swing, just so I don't pop up the ball and more so drive it.
You've built a really good swing even before all that. Who are some of the people and coaches that have really helped you develop the softball swing that you've kind of put into your game this year?
Since I was young, my dad, Dave DeJoy, taught me how to swing. As long as we added to our coaching staff this year, Jason McCollum, he's helped me a lot as well.
I thought your dad might be the answer, and I thought it would be a perfect segue to talk about having head coach David DeJoy and your dad as a head coach here at Brookfield. What's that been like for you? What's that dynamic like to be able to play a game, be coached by him, and then be able to take it home if you needed to and ask him even more about the game or what you did or what your teammates did, even after you leave the field?
We have our moments where we butt heads, but we always put aside and separate home life and softball life, and we both want it as bad as the other wants it. We want to win. We're competitive, and he helps me with what I need and leaves me alone when he knows I'm not in a good mood, so it works.
Every time we talk to softball players, we hear so many good stories about the dad coach, even if they're not the head coach of the varsity team that they play on, the time and work that most of these fathers have put in to kind of help their daughters play softball. Growing up with it and being able to be coached by them for as long as obviously you have been, what's that been like for you? And what's the dynamic like between you guys, even off the field when you're talking about just going into the cage and trying to build things in the off season, like you said before?
It's honestly been rewarding just to see how we both grew together from Little League and even now him being a high school coach about the same time that I reached high school and my class reached high school. I think all of the girls that are in my grade are also like daughters to him, and it's just cool to see how we all grew together.
Now, did he start his softball journey with you, or did he know about the sport before you started playing?
He knew a little about the sport, but I think my brother and I, when we started T-ball, is really when he became most invested.
Let's talk about your love story with the sport. Obviously, to work as hard as you do at it, you got to love softball. When did you fall in love with the sport, and what kind of things made you gravitate towards it so much?
I've always enjoyed it, but I really fell in love with it, I'd say about 4 or 5 years ago. I just love how you have to compete, and as much as it is a team sport, it's also individual. So you work as hard as you can for yourself just so you can do better for the rest of your team, and I really like that about it.
It's senior season, which means we have to talk about all these lasts that you're going through. Last home game, last opening day, last time you play this team, that team. How have you been handling the emotions that senior year can bring and all these last times that senior year kind of puts in front of you?
I'm just trying to enjoy every moment. I haven't really thought about the last as much since football season has ended, basketball season has ended. So softball and baseball season is kind of like the last of the last, and I'm just trying to enjoy every moment of it.
It's also the last couple months of school. What's it been like trying to get through these last couple of weeks and months of schoolwork, knowing that you're so close to graduating and you're so close to being done?
I think that softball definitely helps keep me motivated, keep a routine. I have to get my schoolwork done so I can play softball and perform well. I like to be a good student. I like to do well in everything I do. So having a sport to play during the last moments of school has definitely helped.
What are some of the subjects that you really like and enjoy as you're striving to be a good student?
My AP English class is probably my favorite, but I also enjoy my human physiology class. Those are my two most challenging classes that I have my senior year.
When we're talking about coaches that had impacts on you, what teachers have had an impact on you through your education journey throughout the Brookfield school system?
My freshman year, my geometry teacher, Mr. Klein, he was also a coach around Trumbull and Mahoning County for football. He challenged me in a way that no other teacher ever has, and he pushed me to not only be a better student, but a better athlete and a better person all around.
What are some of your future plans after graduation that you want to see yourself accomplishing after you graduate from Brookfield?
I'm planning to attend YSU, and I'm going into business. So whether it be start my own business or help manage somebody else's business, just trying to do well no matter what I do in my future and work hard.
How did you kind of decide that you wanted to go into business and be either, like you said, either a business owner or help someone else manage their own business? What kind of things drew you to that goal and that career?
Honestly, it took a lot of narrowing down, but I think just being able, especially if I start my own business, to have a say in what I do with my job and my own career, kind of planning out my own future.
If someone came to you right now with all the capital in the world, just handed you money and said, start your own business, what kind of thing would you want to start? Like, what kind of business would be your dream to kind of start and run?
Honestly, I'm not sure, but definitely something related with sports, whether it be something like YSN, something broadcasting, just anything to do with sports. I've been around them my whole life and don't want to stop.
Is there something right now in the softball world that you think either hasn't been invented yet or doesn't get like enough marketing or whatever it may be that you think you could really use into the sport? Maybe you can bring it to softball.
Well, I love the Ysn Ghost bats, but they break really easily. So maybe finding a way to have a bat with that much pop that doesn't break as easily.
So maybe in the near future we'll see the Joys coming out with their own bat brand.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome. What are some of like your needs for a bat? Like obviously everyone has their bats they love to swing. What are some of your likes for bats? What do you look for in a new bat when one of them breaks? What are some of your favorites?
I like something that has a little more weight to it, but isn't too heavy for a faster pitcher, because I feel like the more weight, the farther you can drive the ball. If it's too light, I feel like it just kind of like dinks off the bat. But I'm honestly not too picky when it comes to a bat. It's not the bats and mechanics. So if your mechanics are right, then the ball will go.
What has been your favorite bat of your career? Like the one that you love the most?
I don't think many people swing this bat, but the Rawlings Mantra, all blue, it's beautiful.
Let's talk. We can't talk about your bat without talking about your glove, because we know that players also have a nice relationship with their glove. How many gloves have you used? Do you keep a special bond with your softball glove?
I have had my same glove for all of high school, and before that, I think I've only had, besides my T-ball glove, I think I've only gone through 2 gloves ever since I started playing softball.
That's a special bond. Is anyone else allowed to touch your glove at all?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not too not too picky about that, but I do keep the same one.
If you had to name it, what would you name your glove?
I have no idea. I have never thought about that question.
Never thought about naming it. What are some things that you have that are kind of softball superstitions? Do you have any that you bring into the field?
Every time before I go up to bat, I draw a little cross in the box because it represents my faith, and it could also be like a T. And every game, my grandpa used to come to all of my games. He can't anymore, but his name is Tom, and so that T is for him and for my faith.
when you are thinking about all the people that have supported you and you think about all the people that do support you, who are some names that come to mind that you would say are role models or inspirations that you can go to in the low times that softball is bound to bring because it's a sport that is built to make you fail? Who do you go to when you need inspiration, when you need a role model? Who are some names that come to mind?
I think I can go and have a good relationship with every coach on our coaching staff. Coach Mike, Coach Jason, Coach Kenny. I feel like I can go to all of them. But also one of my biggest role models was Brookfield's and now Pitt's Bailey Drapola. I've always loved watching her play, and she is an incredible player.
When you think of maybe like national softball players, was there anyone you watched as a kid that you were like, man, I want to be like this person when I grow up?
No one specifically, honestly, just watching every team. I never even had a favorite team. I just love the sport so much. I just love watching them all play and analyzing the game.
And now with growth in technology and things like Game Changer, you're able to watch yourself right after the game, break down your swings and things like that. How much has that helped you improve, being able to go right after a game and see yourself, see your swings, and try to fix anything that might have gone wrong?
It's definitely helped a lot, especially in high school softball. You could play 3 to 6 games a week. You're almost playing every day. So trying to do well in your performance the next game, it's nice to be able to go back and watch and try to fix that before you play the next day.
All right, before we let you go, let's get to know you a little bit off the field. First thing, what is your walk-up song? What song you walking up to the plate with?
My walk-up song is Superhero by Metro.
What made you pick that? What sticks out about that song to you that made you want it to be the one that you walk out to?
The intro is very tough, and I think it's intimidating, and I want people to remember that when I come up to bat.
What are some of your softball icks?
This happens to me sometimes because I have long legs, but it's still an ick when your pants come up and your socks don't cover, so like your knees are showing. We call it kneevage. I do not like that, but sometimes you can't help it when you have long legs.
What's your favorite softball chant to come out of the Brookfield dugout?
I like when someone hits a foul ball and we go, "What way? That way."
There it is. I like that you actually did it because a lot of softball players don't want to do it. So thank you for giving us a demonstration. What's your nickname on the team? Do you have a nickname?
My nickname was just Abby because my full name's Abigail. But before she graduated, we had a player that since I played with her when I was little, she called me Squirt.
What's your favorite nickname on the team? Like if you had to pick any teammate that has a great nickname, who would you pick?
I think everyone's nicknames are mostly just an abbreviation of their names, but our right fielder, Janae, I love calling her Jay. It's just fun to cheer that out.
What's a better feeling for you, like the diving web gym type play at short or the home run?
Definitely the home run.
What do you think is the biggest home run you've hit in your career? Like, is there one that sticks out to you that says this is one of my favorite home runs I've hit?
Definitely. Last year we beat Champion 5-3. We were losing 3-2, and I came up and hit a 3-run home run to beat them. And that is something I will never forget because we ended their undefeated season, and it was just a good feeling. They're a great team, but we came out and played really well that day, and it's something we've wanted for a long time.
When you think about a sport outside of softball that you don't play, that maybe you're watching, you think, man, I might be able to be good at that. What are some sports that come to mind that you maybe wish you could have tried or thrown your hat into the ring at?
Track is the same as softball season, and I'm not that fast, but I feel like maybe I could have jumped or something. Would have been fun to try at least.
Who do you think is pick a one male athlete that you think would be really good at softball? Like, because there are some differences between baseball and softball. Who do you think would be the one that maybe wouldn't strike out on a softball field?
I don't know. I feel like Tom Brady's just good at everything. As much as I don't really like him, but he's an athlete. So
is he your favorite professional athlete?
No, actually, my family's Steelers fan, so we hated the Patriots.
There you go. Then your favorite Steeler has to be.
I liked Juju Smith-Schuster when he was there.
All right. That's fine with you like the
Yeah.
TikTok dances. It's cool.
Yeah.
It's cool. What do you think is the best post-game meal that you could have after a big win?
You can't go wrong with Chick-fil-A.
That's why you don't play on Sundays, right?
Yeah.
All right, Abby, before we let you go, I want to give you the chance to thank your support system and all the people that are there for you and all the people that have supported you throughout your career.
All right. Well, obviously my parents, they've supported me no matter what through everything. My little brother Judah is one of my biggest supporters. Whether he comes to the games or not, he always checks up and asks how I've done. Honestly, all my family and all my coaches that have been there from the moment I started, and all my friends, my teammates.
All right, Abby, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. We've loved talking to you. We will continue to cover you throughout your senior year, and we wish you the best of luck. We can't wait to talk to you again real soon.
Thank you so much for having me.
That was Abby DeJoy, senior shortstop from Brookfield, taking the time to talk with us on Running Point today. We thank her for her time. What a great interview that she was able to give us. I mean, a lot of great stuff out of that. Love that she's trying to be her own business owner. I mean, you don't see a lot of kids with that kind of ambition that early in their life, because it takes a lot. I mean, DJ Oakley will tell you, as a CEO and the founder of YSN, along with Brian Scott, that starting your own business is not easy at all. You have to have a lot of ambition. You have to have a lot of drive, focus, and perseverance, I guess. And she's someone that I think softball is going to teach her a lot of lessons about that. And if she starts her own softball business, I'll be the first to kind of give it a look. That's for sure. And since she brought up broadcasting, I mean, hey, always a chair welcome in broadcasting when she gets done at Brookfield if she wants to come do some softball games. We'd love to have her on as the member of the team. And while that's being said, we would love to have anybody. If you're interested in broadcasting, I know we don't say this a ton, but we always want to say, like, if you are seeing what we're doing and you like what we're doing and you want to be a part of it and you want to maybe give maybe a team that we don't get to a lot or a team that we haven't gotten to yet in softball or baseball, and you want to say, hey, let's get them a little bit more coverage. Obviously, we try to get to everyone, and we will get to everyone by the end of the season, but we can't be everywhere every night. There's 20 softball games, 20 baseball games on a good weather day. We don't have the manpower to get everywhere. So if you see a team that you want more coverage for and you're interested in broadcasting, we would absolutely love to set something up with you and have a talk with you and get you a part of the team. And we're always looking for broadcasters that want to pour their energy and their passion into these teams. I mean, you look at the guys that we have and the relationships they've built with the teams that they cover. So we're all about, like, if we can stick you on one team and you can follow them throughout their journey, that's what this is all about. That's what we love about it. So if you're interested and you want to join our team, make sure to head over to ysnlive.com and check us out there. And then also you can email info@ysnlive.com, set something up. You can also message us on any of our social media platforms. We love to hear from you, and we love to kind of bring you aboard on our team. Want to give a shout out before we get out to our previews of tonight to Camel Softball. I kind of missed them in our recap because there were so many scores coming through, so I apologize. But Camel Softball is on a 3-game winning streak right now, and they've had a really good stretch. It's probably the first time in a long time that Camel Softball has won 3 games in a row, and you see this in multiple sports with Camel this year. We saw the volleyball team have a better season than maybe they've ever had in program history, with a lot of volleyball players. And their basketball team started to build a little bit momentum. Injury dampened it a little bit, but now here comes the softball team, 3-game winning streak, and they are playing really, really good softball. They have Liberty tonight. So Camel Softball, congratulations on your 3-game winning streak, and keep it going, man. We love to see programs take steps. And if Camel Softball starts to succeed at a high rate, then that's awesome. Nothing better than that. So congratulations to the Red Devils. We'll look forward to seeing your final tonight come in from their game against Liberty. That should be a fun one. Liberty got a big win over Middlefield Cardinal on Friday. It was 15 to 4, but all 4 runs from 13 to 4. all 4 runs given up by Liberty were unearned. So they pitched really well. And that's going to bring them some momentum heading into today with the MVAC matchup with Camel and Liberty. So we'll look forward to that score and all the other scores that we're about to go over from the night ahead. Let's preview the night ahead. Our weather looks amazing. Head over to Storm Tracker 21 for a forecast tonight. Right now it is 65 degrees in the Youngstown area, according to Storm Tracker 21. First pitch is going to be sunny and 67. So a beautiful day for softball. For those of you that don't like it too hot, it should still stay in the nice, cool area. So it's not going to be a scorcher, but it's also going to be comfortable out there, which is great. And you look at the rest of the week with Storm Tracker 21 as well. I mean, you look at tomorrow, 71, Wednesday, 76, Thursday, 78, Friday, 79, and Saturday, 79 as well. So we're looking at a lot of good softball and baseball weather coming up for you this week, which means we will have a lot of finals and a lot of great performances come in, which means our Diamond Roundup show on Sunday is going to be a great time as well. Let's go into the games that are happening tonight. We will start like we always do with the baseball games that have been greened, which means that we're having them covered. We'll have an announcer there. We will start at Columbiana. 3 o'clock is the start time for this. They're starting a little bit earlier on spring break. Southern at Columbiana, and it will be Joe Eusebio on the call there. The rest of these games that are going to be on the network are 5 o'clock, except for one. There's one that's 4:30. We'll get to that. You know what? Let's just get to the 4:30 game first. We'll just go in chronological order. 4:30 live on ysnlive.com from Sam Torres on the call. Lakeside at Edgewood in a big conference matchup there. So now we go to our 5 o'clock games that are going to be on the network tonight. Girard will be at Struthers on Scene 1. It's a 5 o'clock start. Eric Hughes will be on the call there. Liberty and Campbell will play on the baseball diamond on Scene 2. 5 o'clock is your first pitch. Alec Caberna will be on the call for that one. Niles will go to Hubbard in the Innie 8. Matt Morrison going to travel to the Eagles' place for the second time this season. Southern will play Columbiana at 5, so this is going to be a doubleheader. That's why they're starting at 3. Makes sense. Joe Eusebio will be there for that one as well. We're going to have Howland and Latonia on Scene 1 at 7 o'clock. And then Wellsville and Lisbon will be covered by Scott Hinthorn and Quinn at 5 o'clock from Lisbon on the baseball diamond as well. We go to our softball games tonight. We already had 2 on the network this morning to bring our total to 4 for the day. Albee and Garrettsville Garfield as champion comes to town. This is going to be a matchup between first and third in the MVAC rankings right now. As you look at our standings page on ysnlive.com/standings, champion leading the conference right now, but Garrettsville Garfield on their heels and trying to make a run at it. This will be an important series for the G-men if they want to compete for that MVAC gray tier. And they're going to be hosting champion tonight. I will be there on the call. Girard will be at Struthers, and Bob Zanny and the school will have that covered at 5 o'clock as well. Let's go back up to baseball and hit you with some other games that are happening on the baseball diamond today. Big one in Crestview as Brookfield comes to town inside that MVAC. Garfield and Champion will do battle on the baseball diamond as well as the softball field. Indian Creek will be at Edison tonight at 5 o'clock. McDonald will be in their rivals, Jackson Milton, for a big matchup in the MVAC Scarlet tier. Newton Falls will go to LaBrea. Waterloo will go to Springfield tonight, 5 o'clock start time. Western Reserve, they're in Sebring tonight, and then Wyndham goes to Pymatuning Valley. Some softball games that are happening tonight that you can go out to. St. Thomas Aquinas will be at Warren JFK. 5 o'clock is your start time. All these games will start at 5. Brookfield goes to Crestview. That should be a fun one inside the MVAC. That is 2 versus 4 in the standings. Crestview right now, second in the MVAC. Brookfield is sitting at 4. So some conference shakeups today and tomorrow inside the MVAC gray tier. Cheney going to Badger tonight at 5 o'clock. East Liverpool Christian will go to Latonia. Glen Oak goes to Louisville for a big matchup for the Leopards. Indian Creek will be at Edison tonight. Liberty, as we said, will be traveling to Campbell Memorial. McDonald at Jackson Milton tonight. Newton Falls goes to LaBrea. Niles will go to Hubbard. Poland will be at Jefferson. Southern will be at Columbiana. Waterloo goes to Springfield. Wellsville will go to Lisbon. Western Reserve will be at Sebring, and then Wyndham will be at Pymatuning Valley tonight. Those are your softball games that are happening. We will have YSU baseball on the network as well as they go to Pitt. Anthony Romo making the trip with them. So we have five baseball games on the network tonight. We've already had seven baseball games on the network tonight. We've already had 2 softball this morning, 2 softball tonight. So that'll bring our total to 9 baseball and softball games on the network for the high school, and then 1 YSU game as well on the network tonight as we go into a great night. It could be a great night of baseball and softball, and I can't wait to recap it with you tomorrow on tomorrow's show. Not only will we recap all of today's action, but we will also play an interview with Natalie Davis, a senior from Boardman Softball. Can't wait for you guys to hear her interview, and we'll have some fun previewing the night ahead tomorrow as well. So tomorrow on Running Point, 1 to 2, don't miss it. This has been it for today's episode. Thank you so much for tuning in today, and thank you for everybody for all their constant support of this show. Can't thank them enough. This was Running Point.